borrowing the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats tend to be a little more judgmental than we should. This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature about this.
So look, Aaron, those aren't the only times that we found that he used it. He also used it a lot on social media. Look at a few of these right here. You see there, that is a lot of use of Latinx by him for somebody who said that nobody in his office is ever.
Okay, gather around for some juicy gossip about a guy named Gavin Newsom, who's like the big boss of California. I never thought I'd hear him tell the truth, like ever. You know how he always talked about those California wildfires like they were no big deal? Well, hold on to your hats, because he just flipped the script. In a video that's all over the internet, Gavin actually admitted something true. Can you believe it? It's like a total shock.
John Fetterman was in the news today. He said, we're talking about the Democratic Party, he said, if we don't get our together, we're going to be a permanent minority.
I agree.
And I see you're doing something about it. I applaud it. I think it's great. You've got this podcast. You're talking to people. You know, it's amazing to me that even that is controversial to some people. They call it platforming. If you talk to someone you don't agree with.
Yeah.
I feel like this country is divided into owners and healers. People who think you can own the other side.
Even this guy, Bill Maher, who's like a TV talk show host, looked super surprised when Gavin dropped this truth bomb. It was like he saw a spaceship or something. Gavin said just 2 words that made everyone's jaws drop. I agree. Seriously, nobody expected Mr. Fancy Hair Governor to be honest. We were all ready for his usual excuses and blame games, like when he does his fancy politician tricks. But then Bill said the Democratic Party is in big trouble. And guess what? Gavin, who's famous for never taking the blame, actually said, yup, the party's in a mess. For a guy who's great at making bad stuff sound good, this was like him signing a paper saying he's wrong. And that's not all. He kept agreeing with Bill, not dodging or acting like a know-it-all teacher. When someone who's always denying stuff starts agreeing, you know something's up, like cracks showing in a wall.
Gavin Newsom owned DeSantis. DeSantis destroyed Gavin Newsom. Or people who want to talk and heal. And I feel like the next president's going to be, at least if it comes from this party, Democratic Party, someone who wants to talk and heal. And I feel like we're doing that.
Okay, so I don't think Gavin's new podcast is about fixing things or making people feel better. Nope, it's not like a cozy chat with a friend. It's all about politics. I think he's trying out for a bigger job, like maybe being president in 2028. Here's the deal. Gavin knows California's got a lot of problems, like tons of homeless people, businesses leaving, wildfires, and power outages. It's a mess, and he's part of it. So now he's trying to change his image. Out goes super smooth Gavin 1.0, and in comes Gavin 2.0, the guy who says he'll bring everyone together. But it feels so fake, like a play with too much air freshener. To me, it's like he's pretending to care just to make himself look good for that big job. Who thinks Gavin's gonna be America's problem fixer? Not me.
It's been interesting, the reaction to the podcast. I mean, we had some controversial figures on, I'll acknowledge that, and Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and some others. But you're right. I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side.
You have to. They won.
Thank you. And by the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now.
Oh, and Gavin said something about how we need to keep talking or we'll be stuck in the same boring ideas. But then, whoops, he messed up. He said the Democratic Party is toxic right now. Wait, what? Did Gavin really say his own team is a problem? I'm shocked. It's like he said it straight from his super-styled mouth. The funny thing is, the Democratic Party didn't just get bad by accident. People like Gavin, who love fancy photos and speeches that sound good but don't mean much, helped make it that way. California's a perfect example of things going wrong while he's in charge. And now he's pointing out the problems in his own party? That's like someone starting a fire and then saying, wow, this place is burning. If Gavin wants to talk about fixing things, he should start by looking at himself.
We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll, 29% favorability. It's dropped, the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trick them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be.
Have you noticed how Gavin keeps mentioning his podcast like it's no big deal? That's so him, super sneaky and always selling himself. It's like a peek at who he really is. A guy who talks a lot, but doesn't get much done. He's like the star of today's Democrats, dancing around problems with fancy words. But when it's all over, nothing's fixed. Oh, and did you catch that little dig he made? It felt like he was throwing shade at Kamala Harris, another politician who's great at talking a lot, but saying nothing important. Was Gavin being mean on purpose, or did it just slip out? Either way, it shows the big shots in the Democratic Party aren't all shiny and happy anymore. They're starting to pick on each other.
This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature about this.
If Gavin's suddenly into telling the truth, he should start by owning up to the mess in California since he became governor. You can't go on TV, point fingers at other Democrats for losing in 2024, and act like your own record is perfect. That's like cheating at hide and seek. California's not a happy place under Gavin. There's tons of homeless people, businesses are leaving, taxes are crazy high, crime's everywhere. And living there is so expensive, families are moving out fast. If Gavin wants Democrats to take responsibility, he should go first and admit he's made a mess. He's not just watching California fall apart. He's the one who drew the plans for it. Until he owns that, all his big talk about being responsible is just a show with fancy lights. Oh, and he even lied about never using the word Latinx. Check the video.
Let's talk about the word Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah, where did that even...
No more Latinx,
like,
everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
There was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. Politicians are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even...
So you can see why I was totally shocked when Gavin let a tiny bit of truth come out. This guy loves spinning stories and dodging the truth. So we're used to hearing nothing but excuses, even when everyone knows he's wrong. That's Gavin's style. Deny, dodge, distract. Californians have been dealing with the results for years. Homelessness getting worse, businesses closing, crime going up, and families leaving the state. But Gavin just smiles for the cameras like everything's perfect. So when he said something true, it was like seeing a unicorn in the middle of San Francisco. Super rare and hard to believe.
Look, Aaron, those aren't the only times that we found that he used it. He also used it a lot on social media. Look at a few of these right here. You see there, that is a lot of use of Latinx by him for somebody who said that nobody in his office.
Big props to Bill Maher for getting Gavin to drop his act and say something real for once. That's a huge deal. Gavin's usually like a robot with a script, but Bill trapped him into telling the truth. Maybe that's why a lot of big Democrats avoid Bill's show. They know he won't let them just talk nonsense. He'll push and poke until they squirm or spill the beans. For a party that's all about looking good and sticking to their story, that's super scary. If Bill can make smooth Gavin crack, imagine what he'd do to the other big Democrats on his show.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tabitha Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want to run for president? I mentioned, I think, be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state.
Even with this new truth-telling Gavin, I don't think he's got a shot at being president if he tries. Let's be real. His time running California is a total disaster, even if he dresses it up in a fancy suit. The state's got huge problems. Homelessness is out of control, crime's up, businesses are leaving, and families can't afford to stay. That's not the kind of report card you want if you're running for president. Plus, his super progressive ideas might sound cool to some fancy people, but regular folks aren't into lectures or fake promises. They want real fixes. And Gavin's shown he's great at acting, not solving. One true thing he said on Bill's show doesn't erase years of lies and messes. Gavin's not here to fix things. He's part of California's problems. His shiny image, podcast talks, and big ideas might impress some people, but regular folks aren't buying it. If he's the future of the Democrats, they're in bigger trouble than we thought. That's the story for today. If you like this gossip, give it a thumbs up and stick around for more. See you next time.